It's time for the Cinemassacre
podcast. And now, the hosts with the most, James, Kieran, Justin, and this badass guest.
But before we get into the podcast, let's talk about today's sponsor, Contra Returns.
As you probably know, Contra is one of my favorite games.
Contra Returns aims to bring that action.
All right, welcome back to the Cinemassacre podcast. We're joined again for the second time by my friend John.
Thanks for having me again.
So we're going to talk about favorite bands. Now, we're going to do a top 5. So if everybody can pick a top 5. And
That's
now,
really hard.
It's so hard because all of us can sit here all day and talk about bands we like. If you could just narrow it down to 5, but I came up with 10.
Well, you really fucking thought about this.
Oh, yeah, that was a long intro.
I love that there's always criteria. No, it
What are your
has to
favorite
have.
bands? It's like, well, listen, you have to.
There is a rubric.
There's a fucking flow chart. Yeah.
Well, I could either just get mine out of the way, or do you want to go around, or
What we could do is we could all just start it.
Okay, I'll just start it off. My number 5 band is AC/DC because they're not very versatile. They sound exactly the same.
My number 5 is Kill Switch Engage.
Okay.
Oh.
It was metalcore. I believe and I was into like an emo. I was an emo kid in high school. I was a fucking
you were
douchebag.
hanging out outside the mall.
Yeah.
Me and Newt worked at the movie theater in the Morristown Mall, and we were always like fucking the kids out front because they kept crowding the lines.
I would punch the shit out of myself when I was 15.
My number 5, black metal band Immortal, Viking, and all that crap, and we went to the Norwegian Pavilion.
Let's get back on track.
I cannot count, but I'm going to say the Beatles. I can't play Rock Band. Yeah, no.
All right, so number 4 for me, Iron Maiden. I mean, okay, like, what does it take for 3 bands to beat Iron Maiden? But still, think about 3 bands. Only 3 bands.
10 bands, 50 bands, 100 bands, fuck it, man.
And, like, they put stuff out.
Number 4 for me is Rage Against the Machine.
Oh.
It was the first time I ever heard the word fuck. I think on that album is a great song.
Hell
it
yeah.
has so many
Number 4 for me is probably the I'm gonna get Scandinavia out of the way. Is Amon Amarth, the band Amon Amarth, the lead singer. We just start booing Trivium, and they got upset and left. Yeah, I don't feel bad.
And the
about
drummer
it.
too. They kicked that drummer
You should
out
feel bad
eventually.
about it.
You think so?
That drummer
feel
was
bad about it.
he got kicked out of the band.
I know you're probably not gonna pick a death metal band.
No,
but go
I
ahead.
have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm going to go with Pearl Jam. I was like, this is it. These are my people. It's just a weird vibe.
Number 3, huh?
Yep.
Number 3.
All right, so number 3 for me is Metallica.
Called
Okay.
it.
Cunning stunts.
From the this.
Actually, what's it called?
Cool, so let's move on. What's your number 3?
Rush. Geddy Lee
doing
giving
it?
the Heimlich to people. And also, too, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Trailer Park Boys, but there's the episode where they kidnap Alex Lifeson because Bubbles is trying to see Rush live, and he ends up losing the tickets. So the one guy, Ricky, kidnaps Alex Lifeson.
But he got pissed off me saying, oh, you kidnapped me. It wasn't kidnapping, so if he's going to say I kidnapped him, I'm going to call him a male prostitute.
Nice. Your number 3, Justin.
Number 3 is fucking Shatner Claus.
Oh,
fellow Jew. Shatner Claus.
That's hilarious.
So I just number 3.
So number 3. So the band is 311. Truthfully, sometimes they have disappointed me in their live performances.
Especially after the weed.
So my number 2 is the band I have tattooed right here is Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Number
Yeah.
2?
Number
Wow,
2.
I don't know it.
Judas Priest is they're kind of similar to Iron Maiden. Like they're two of the because they're the British new wave.
It doesn't sound like them at all.
Cool. So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Darren Gray.
Okay.
And they're a Japanese metal band. I started listening to them in high school because I was big into anime, and I had a friend who was into a bunch of. She would listen to Japanese bands. Loudwire did a video that was like most disturbing metal videos and stuff, and this is always on it. There's a part where there's a demon orgy with these demon geisha women and a demonic dildo that's like flying around and stuff. It's crazy shit with the song. Yeah, right.
Dildo.
It's just there's
You guys are probably all airheads.
My number 2, I'm not sure if it counts, but it's fucking Daft Punk. Well, they just broke up. Well, one guy exploded, sadly, but
Spontaneously combusted.
sadly, yes.
Okay, so number 2. This is where it gets really easy for me. So I really love the Grateful Dead.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't Jimmy Buffett.
But I just love the Dead. And
All right, so number 1 favorite bands. Everybody knows mine, I think. You all know
It's
it.
Led Zeppelin.
Close.
Really? It's Black
Closer.
Sabbath. Fuck.
Black Sabbath.
You were talking about Led Zeppelin so much. Fuck.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Black Sabbath is my favorite because, so there you go. What's your number 1, Kieran?
All right, number 1 is it's a little bit different than my other choices, but it is Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Oh.
I have so in my as you have your CDs, my top one is the very best.
Number 1. Why did I say number 2? Number 2.
You got it. Number 2.
That's hilarious.
So I just my number 1. It's a newer band. They've only been around for like a year, hard rock stuff, but it's definitely Rex Viper.
Oh yeah.
The number.
Oh, wait, are you serious? Are you
no,
serious?
it's not fucking serious.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Definitely better than the Beatles.
It was like when I did that top 10 giant monsters.
Oh, I already know what your number 1
Yeah,
is.
you guys probably already know.
Well, just say it.
Fish.
Oh,
I became a fan of Fish in college. Like, you know what I mean?
No, but I love I loved angry music. Angry.
All right, dear Hall and Oates.
I don't know. Yeah, right.
It's angry.
That is an angry song.
so I was listening to.
I have so many
there's a
stories
show-
about this asshole.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
me
All right,
too.
cool. So let's close this up.
Well, all right, Cinemassacre heads.
Thanks. See you next Tuesday. Remember to like this episode, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment below.
I'm picturing like a candy shop.
A candy shop.
Yeah. No.
Not a shed with an old man selling candy.
I do.